every opportunity that I get to capture the moment on film is, I don't take it lightly. It's an opportunity for me to capture something for somebody that they may never ever get to see again. That moment in time will be there shortly. I want to be able to present something to them at an angle that they never thought before, so they can cherish it forever.
What's up? Hey, how y'all doing? This is Chef Ebony Dion here. I am coming to do a wonderful cooking demonstration for you guys. I'm making one of my favorite Southern comfort dishes, black-eyed peas. And black-eyed peas go perfectly with rice. And I'm going to do some hot water cornbread. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Get my jacket on to make sure I don't get all dirty. All right, I hope you guys are having a fabulous day today. Black-eyed peas are a staple in Southern cooking and soul food cooking, and actually our ancestors, my ancestors, African Americans, brought black-eyed peas over during the transatlantic slave trade. So this is a long history long history vegetable and pea in the African diaspora. So if you go to Africa, black-eyed peas are a very popular dish as well in that continent. So I really love black-eyed peas, but one of the things about black-eyed peas and most traditionally cooked are cooked with meat. So my name of my classes that I'm going to offer and my products to offer is called Life After Fatback, because I was having a conversation with somebody and I was like, you know, growing up in my family, it was always a guarantee in my grandmother's refrigerator. There was going to be sweet tea, there's going to be eggs, butter, and a piece of fatback. So in almost every dish, this is something that was always there. So I just thought that's how you're supposed to eat. Whenever you cook anything, you got to have that fatback in it. But as I grew in my own discipline of studying and then also just trying to heal my own body, I realized that fatback was not needed. I didn't know how good it was going to taste until I started playing and experimenting around, but I was like, oh my gosh, I could still have my peas too without the fatback. So I came up with this recipe, and it's really just all about the seasoning to making sure that it tastes good. So I'm starting out with carrots. So one of the things about, I specialize in vegan and vegetarian soul food. And one of the important things, and when people are looking to convert to a plant-based diet, is really important that it's balanced, that you have the right amount of fats, carbs, and proteins. And I was having a conversation earlier today, and I was like, it's even deeper than fats, carbs, and proteins. It's really the amino acids. So the amino acids are the basic building blocks of all foods. And that's what your body uses to actually rebuild, repair, and rejuvenate, is the amino acids. And we have 20 essential amino acids that we need, and then we get it from food. And so if you could be a vegan and eat pasta every day and be very out of balance, right? And so it's really important that you eat a colorful diet. And so do you have to know and look up the ingredients and the macros of everything that you eat? No. Really simple, easy way to know if you're getting all of the nutrients that you need is by the colors. If your plate is colorful, all right, then you know that you're getting all the nutrients that you need. So I use orange carrots, right? And so that's the vitamin A. It's good for your eyes and your skin. And we have the reds and red peppers. And we're gonna chop this up. So I'm doing about a half of a pepper. So we're gonna get this sliced up really good. And another important thing when you're cooking is that you have to have a good knife. A nice, good, sharp knife. So I'm chopping this up, not too small, because I still want the flavors to be able to taste them whenever you eat it. And it's also to melt pretty good. So it'll saute and get really tender and blend with the peas really well. And we'll set this aside. And now for a little kick. All right, so this is, in most of my vegetables that I'm cooking, this is a good combination. I'm gonna have peppers and onions, and I use those a lot just to give it the extra little kick. And when the food's a little bit spicy, it helps it, you feel a little fuller. All right, when it's bland, it doesn't have any flavor. It doesn't feel like it hits the bottom of your stomach. You're just still feeling airy and hungry. So I'm gonna set that to the side. And now I got some celery. I'm gonna do about 3 stalks of celery, all right? And so we're gonna cut off the ends, move this to the side. All right. All right, now we got some more green, nice celery. Has a lot of water and a lot of fiber in it. So it's good for your skin, good for your digestion, your overall digestion, and alkalining your body. So I'm not just a chef, I'm also a health coach. So my background is in biology and a master's of public health, and I'm a health coach. And I teach and work with people with chronic diseases, diabetes and cancer, heart disease. And so learning how your body works on a cellular level is really important when it comes to keeping yourself healthy, well, whole, and balanced. And it really starts on the dinner plate, because if your body doesn't have the right building blocks, then it doesn't know what to do next. So, and it's really not as hard and as complicated as a lot of people try to make it out to be. So when it comes to like, where's the meat? You know, I was talking about my grandmother and saying like the life after fatback. And the fatback was always a staple in her kitchen. And I'm going to cut this, about that much right there. Cut that to the side, and this is how I go ahead and peel the skins off of it. The outer edge, and I'm just gonna chop. So the taking care of your health is so important, but if you're not mindful of what you're doing, then your body's just gonna kind of do its own little thing. And unfortunately, we think this is too late a lot of times. Well, people's like, well, I'm already on this medication, I already had this diagnosis, and it just is what it is, and I'm just doomed for this this lifestyle. And that is absolutely not the case. So many people, and so many people I've worked with, have completely turned their life and their health around just by changing their diet. I had one person that I was teaching, and he was in his 80s too, and we think because once you hit a certain age, he was in his 80s, and he had prostate cancer, double knee replacement, and he was just tired. He had prostate cancer, just tired. So he went on a plant-based diet, and within a year he lost almost 100 pounds and was on 18 medications and had taken off all his medications except for 1 or 2. So it's absolutely possible. All right, so it's time now that I got these chopped up. I'm gonna go ahead and switch over here to the stove, and we're gonna get these onions and peppers and stuff all sauteed up. Doesn't that look beautiful? So this right here is the first start and fresh start in a balanced diet, is having lots of colors on your plate. So we're gonna go ahead and move over to the stove. All right, so now we're over here at the stove. I have my olive oil. I go through a lot of olive oil, so I had to buy the mama of olive oils. So I'm just gonna put a couple tablespoons of olive oil in the bottom of the pan just to coat it up really nicely. And I guess it helps if I actually turn the fire on too, right? All right, so we got the fire on, and we're going to get this oil started to get it heated up. All right, so we're letting this heat. And at the same time, I'm letting my water boil that I will use in the hot water cornbread in just a minute. So it's important that when you're cooking for time and expedience sake, that you plan and you start in the right order. So this water is just going to sit over here and simmer. So this oil is heating up. Just continue, just let it heat up. And put my vegetables in there. I see it's getting warmer as it thins out. Olive oil has a very low smoke point, so it's really important that you watch it, that you don't walk away from your skillet anytime you're cooking with olive oil, because it will heat fairly quickly and it will start to smoke fairly quickly. So those are something we don't want to do, because it can also alter the flavor of your food. So we're going to go ahead and put the vegetables in there. All right, and we'll let this saute. All right, so one of the keys to having great vegetables and tasting great without the fat back, all right, is to season. All right, so that's the one thing I've been cooking since I was like 6 years old. My mom taught me how to cook. One of my very first dishes was eggs. And when I was, my mother would tell me, I was like, when I'm seasoning, so that was pink Himalayan sea salt. And I asked my mom, like, well, how do I know what to, how much to put in there? She's like, I don't know, baby. You just got to look at it and tell. So that's my definition of soul food. So when I tell people I cook soul food, so this is nature seasoning. So when I tell people that I cook soul food, but it's vegan and vegetarian soul food, they kind of look like very perplexed, because most of the time when people think of soul food, they think about the fat back, right? And that is not what soul food is about, all right? So soul food, the name indicates, it's that feeling, it's that, okay, that was black pepper. So I put black pepper, I put pink Himalayan sea salt, nature seasoning. Now I'm going to add some paprika in here. Paprika just goes, oh, it's one of my favorite seasonings. All right, paprika, and then just a little bit of slap your mamas. All right, so you just want to watch depending on how your sodium intake on some of your extra seasonings, because they may have additional sodium in them. So this is the thing about soul food, is it's the relationship that you have with the food, right? We talk about our soul and our spirit, and ooh, just that, ooh, just makes you, when you eat. When my son had a bite of my food one time, I had cooked something, he's like, oh, mama, that just touched my soul. And that's the feeling that you get. That's the feeling that you put into the food. All right, so as you can see, the onions and the celery and peppers are starting to get really soft. The carrots is going to take a little bit longer. They're going to get softer as they cook with the peas, but you just keep on stirring. And so right about now, when they start looking really translucent, is about the time that I start adding the peas. All right, so I've already washed my peas. I've already washed and picked the peas. So it's really important with your peas. I got a pound bag that you go through, and you pick them. You just don't throw them in the pot, because sometimes you can get some really crummy looking peas like that. So you don't want to get, see, that's all black and corroded. And sometimes it may have little rocks in the bag. So make sure you guys are picking and cleaning those peas out. All right, so I'm going to pour this in the pot. And then I have some vegetable broth. All right, so got some vegetable broth right here. And we're just going to pour this vegetable broth on in. So I've already used some of this right here. So this is not a full container. So it probably takes about a container and a half. Right now it's on like medium to medium high. We're going to let it boil, come to a boil, and add in just a little bit more to cover it up. Make sure you keep some liquids to the side, because it will boil off as they're cooking. So this is something you can also do in a crock pot. So if you want to saute the onions and things like that and put it in a crock pot to cook while you're at work for the day. Peas actually really don't take too long to cook. Peas are a little bit softer than beans. So they probably take about an hour and a half to 2 hours at the most, really depending on how fresh they are. So if they're really fresh, it won't take as long. So we're letting this come to a boil. And as this comes to a boil, so this is what else is going to add some extra flavor. So I specialize in vegan and vegetarian soul food. It really depends on what you are leaning towards, if you're doing dairy or not. I personally still use whole butter because I'm a whole foodist. I prefer to use actually the whole real ingredient and use the best ingredient, but I will sometimes use the vegan. And when I'm preparing for catering, I will use the vegan substitutes, just depending on the occasion. So right now I have Earth Balance vegan butter and fats, carbs, and proteins. Remember, I kept mentioning that in the beginning, fats, carbs, and proteins. So your peas are going to be your protein and a little bit of the fiber and some carbs. So you still need to have some fat. So I added some olive oil when I begin to saute it. And I'll add about a tablespoon and a half of some butter. This will help it give it more a little creaminess and add in some more fat. So it's per serving, you're not really getting a whole lot of fat, but you are getting enough to be able to help with your one with the taste, and then also your nutritive value that you need. So we added some butter in. Now also to help cook the peas and so they'll break down and digest a little bit better, we want to make sure that we add in some wine. So this is some cooking wine. This will also help round out and make it taste a little bit fuller. It's only about a tablespoon of that. And then I have a little red cooking wine. So I do a little red, a little white. All right, so we're not using meat, so we really want to make sure that the flavor stays as full as possible. And now I have another one of my favorites, this spicy pepper sherry. All right, so I'm just going to add just a few drops. There you go, for good measure of that, and a little liquid smoke. So there's no fat back. I'll guarantee you, uncured bacon or meat that's not cooked or hasn't been smoked or cured is nasty. It's the flavor that we're really looking for, right? And the fat is what helps make you feel full longer. So I'm gonna give you some of that little smoky flavor that you would have gotten if you added in that fat back, if you added in that smoked ham hock. So there we go. We add just a little bit of that liquid smoke to balance out the flavor. So it's really just about balancing the flavors and figuring out what part of the notes that you need to hit to get that full flavor. All right, so now as you see, it's boiling. As this comes to a boil, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this all the way down to simmer, and we'll just let it simmer until it gets done. So you'll just make sure that you keep an eye on it, you keep checking it, keep stirring, because the water will, liquids will boil down, and you don't want to you don't want to dry out and then burn and scorch your peas. That'd be terrible. So make sure you keep checking your peas as they're cooking to make sure they don't boil down. It's already starting to smell really delicious. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna turn the oil on for my hot water cornbread. I'm gonna turn it down really kind of low because it won't probably take too long to cook, but I just want the oil to start getting warm. And I'm gonna go back to my cooking station and show you how we put the hot water cornbread together. All right, so I'm getting ready to make some hot water cornbread. Oh my gosh, I used to love when my mom would make hot water cornbread and beans and rice when I was a kid. So really super simple. You don't have to wait on it to bake in the oven. You don't have to heat up the whole house. So especially in the summertime, you want some cornbread, but you don't want to turn the oven on and heat up the house. So I already have in my bowl, I have 2 cups of cornmeal, 1 cup of spelt flour, and then a few tablespoons of sugar. In traditional cornbread, I generally use a little bit more sugar, but we don't want the hot water cornbread to be a little too sweet. All right, now on to the next. So for the leavening, we still want it to rise. I have a little baking soda. So it's about a teaspoon of baking soda we'll put in there. And then we'll do some baking powder. I like to use aluminum-free baking powder. And the price of it is slightly more than traditional baking powder. But anytime you can use anything that has one less contaminant in it, the better. All right, so I'm gonna use about a tablespoon of baking powder. Now, again, in Southern and soul food cooking, we season everything. So I'm gonna even season my cornbread. All right, so I got some Slap Your Mamas and a little pink Himalayan sea salt. Pink Himalayan sea salt is better than traditional white salt because NaCl or table salt, it actually causes your blood to coagulate and to thicken. This actually helps to regulate your blood and your blood pressure because it has lots of essential minerals in it. And get us a fresh cracked black pepper. Woo-hoo. Shake it up. All right. And some paprika. Again, I love oh look, I I've been moving and shaking all day today. I just hit my 10,000 steps. All right, so this is how we stay active, is by being busy and being cooking. All right, so if you want to know how to be more active, you can cook and still be very active and get all the exercise you need in, and then that meal will taste so much better because you know you earned it. All right, now I have mixed that all together. Now, normally when you make traditional hot water cornbread, you use eggs. So one of my favorite substitutes for eggs and baking for vegan is using applesauce. So I will use probably about a third of a cup of applesauce is equivalent to 1 egg. All right, so we got the applesauce in there. And now I'm gonna go ahead and put my gloves on because I'm gonna be making patties out of these. So let's see what we got. All right, so I got my hot water right here. It's already been boiling. Just be careful when you're adding it. You don't want to add too much at one time because you still want it to be pretty thick. We're not looking for a batter, looking more for a dough. So that's what we're trying to make. So a dough versus a batter. So you just don't want to just pour the water in here. So you'll do it, just kind of play it by ear. And I have the water boiling. So this is another thing my mom will make this because neither one of us were both lactose intolerant. So there's a lot of times we might not have milk in the house. So we want some cornbread. You don't have any milk. You don't have all the ingredients. What are you going to do? So you just learn how to make do. So this is one of those kind of make do recipes as well. All right, so I'm adding in more water. And it looks like I made, let's see, how is this coming together? All right, and just a little bit. Looks like I did just the perfect amount of water. Look at that. Look at God. I know what I'm doing. All right. So pour the last of that water in. All right. Now we're going to get down and dirty. All right. So I'm just kind of mix it up with my hands a little bit. Really good. Now, kind of looks like masa too. I can make some tamales, but no tamales today. All right, so I'm gonna make little patties out of these, not too thick, so it'll cook a little bit faster. So about the size of the palm of my hand, and we're just gonna pat these out. And there's really no wait time you don't have to let them sit or rest or anything. You can pop them right in the grease as soon as they're ready to finish patting out. So many people will reach out to me and just want to know, how can I cook this, or how can I do this, or I'm diabetic and I really want to be able to eat better, but I'm just used to eating a certain way and I just can't have food that doesn't taste good, and and so I can show you better than I can tell you, and that's kind of my philosophy. And so I really love and enjoy incorporating the physical part, the food part, but also the educational part. Because when you know better, you do better. When I can show you and teach you, why it's important to pay attention to the foods on your plate, and, how it impacts your health, and how you can be so much freer and liberated to live the life that you want to when you're free of disease, versus, me just preparing the food and being like offering you a service. So it's not just offering you a service. I really want to offer you a lifestyle and a lifestyle change. And that's what really my whole mission is. And so I do a lot of different things of products and services that I offer, just so that I can meet you wherever your needs may be. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take these and check the oil to see if the oil is hot enough to go ahead and start frying these babies up. All right, so I got my oil nice and hot over here. I put a little test of the little batter in here, the dough, to see if it was ready, and it is ready. So I don't want to stick my hand straight in there, so I'm going to use a spatula and just kind of lower it in there. It's hot. And then we'll just put a few in here at a time. We don't want to crowd it out too much because we need space around it so the oil can cook it nice and evenly. All right. And there we go. So I'll do almost half of them. All right. So let me check this fire because it is cooking pretty quickly. So you want to just keep an eye on it. And you see I got the peas over here are cooking. They're still boiling. Oh, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Nice and golden. So these cook fairly quickly. I am cooking on a commercial stove, so results may appear a little faster than what they are at home. So just be mindful of that. All right. So, but we don't want it to cook too fast because I want the cornmeal to cook all the way in the center. All right. So we'll flip that over. So let me turn this down. Turn it down and let that continue to cook. And one right there. And I'll do one of those smaller ones right here. All right. And now we will get a paper towel and put on the plates when we start taking them out, because we don't want it to melt the plate. We want it to absorb as well. So we're still letting these cook because they're not quite done yet. All right. So move these around. And if you notice, if it is starting to cook too fast and it's gotten golden brown faster than it's getting done on the inside, you can always take them out, cover it, and put it in the oven and let it finish cooking so that it won't continue to brown the outside of it. All right, so I love the little crispiness that it has on the outside. So yummy. All right, so this one's still trying to cook for me. And the baking soda and the baking powder is giving a little rise to it as well. So make sure you just continue to watch the flames. You don't want it to dry out and scorch. I might would add some cauliflower or some broccoli just to add a little more vegetables, right? Who ever said you can't give me vegetables? So that would probably be the only other thing that I would add to this if I just really want to, or a baked sweet potato. Ooh, I love baked sweet potatoes. Just a little dab of butter, not a whole lot. If you don't take anything else home, it does not have to be complicated, and it can absolutely be tasty. It can absolutely remind you of the meals of yesteryear, all right, so when you were growing up. Oil that I used in here was corn oil, because you can't fry in olive oil or coconut oil. Their smoke points are too low for it to get a temperature high enough to actually give you a nice crisp. So coconut oils aren't really good for sauteing because their smoke points are even lower than olive oil. Olive oils and olive oils are really one of the best ones. And actually, I'm starting to see almond oil on shelves, easier to buy. So check out your stores. The really great thing about people being more mindful about their health and wellness is that the items that are available in your local grocery stores are starting to expand on the different healthy options and different variety of options. So again, Southern cooking, soul food cooking, it's all about the seasoning. So I season in the beginning and I season in the end. So we're going to just sprinkle just a little bit of that slap your mamas on there. Not a whole lot, just so when you bite into it, you can have a little kick in your mouth right before you chew all the way in. So here it is. The hot water cornbread is all finished. Yay! All right, so this right here is the final product. I am I can't wait to dig into this, but I gotta tell you a few things first. So you can find me at chefebonydion.com. That's chefebonydione.com to order and to find out more about all the services I offer. If it's named about food, I'd probably do it. But one of the main things is, I told you guys I specialize in vegan, vegetarian, soul food, but this is Texas. Everybody ain't ready to get over to meat yet. And I want something that everybody can enjoy together. So whether you're a vegan or you call yourself a carnivore, I prepare meals for you all. So I still make chicken, turkey, and seafood dishes. So check out my wonderful, beautiful menu to see how I can service you at your next event. Also, I've been talking about Life After Fatback. My Life After Fatback class is coming soon. So if you'd like more information about how you can live with Life After Fatback, especially if you're suffering with diabetes or heart disease, or unfortunately, the worst case of cancer, how can you use these foods to make you feel healthy, well, and whole in a much more vibrant way? Because we are meant to live life, not suffer through it. And this right here looks like life right here. So I'm done talking. Oh, forgot, call me at 682-230-8774. I answer the phone. I text you back as soon as I can. All right, but now I'm done talking. I need to eat. Oh, let me get this. Oh. Oh my gosh, where's my mama? Where's my mama? I didn't call her so I can slap her. Oh my gosh. Let me get this cornbread. It's so crunchy on the outside. It's soft and chewy on the inside. Oh, so good. All right, guys. Give me a call if you want to have some of this in your life today. I promise you, you don't want to miss out. 682-230-8774, chefebonydion.com, and all my hashtags and all my places you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and all that at Chef Ebony Dion. All right, guys. Peace out.